channel. My name is Destiny Hernandez. If you are new here, hello. I would love to have you down in our family below, so make sure you subscribe if you want to see more videos of my face. If you're a returning subscriber, hello family. You already know how we do here. Today I have filmed for you guys a girly TMI talk. I'm gonna answer some questions that I had got on Instagram. If you're not following me on Instagram, please follow me there. I always ask questions about what I'm going to film next. If I have any questions that I want y'all to ask me for my next video, I'm going to ask y'all there. But we are drinking wine today. We had Miss Stella Rosa with us. She's gone now, so I can't show y'all. But I just answered a couple of y'all's TMI questions for girls. If you are mad, you can watch this definitely too below. Some of this stuff applies to you guys as well. But I hope you enjoy this video. If you are interested in seeing more of me, please follow me below, subscribe, everything. And thank you so much for watching. See you in the video. And get started with the first question. The first question I have is, how old were you when you got your first girlfriend? So of course, like as all other people that date girls or anybody who dates the other gender, I didn't get my first girlfriend till really young, really old, if you really want to call it. I didn't get my first girlfriend until I was 15. And she wasn't even really like my girlfriend. She was a girl that I was talking to, and she was like, oh, you're really bi, right? And I was like, hang on, why are you telling me that I'm a certain type of way when I'm not? So I was really thrown off about it because, yeah, like, why would you tell me I'm bi? I'm not bi. And back then, that's before people started coming out as gay and all different types of ways. And it just threw me off because I was always saying to myself, oh, I'm straight, the girl. And back then, that's before I started talking to girls like on the regular. So it was just awkward for me. I was like, oh, no, I don't like you, da da da. And I actually did like her. And it's weird. If you're watching this, you know who you are. And I'm thankful that you put me on, honestly, because I don't think I've dated another guy since then. Well, I think I have. But yeah, I was relatively like 15 years old. It was right after my quince. That's when I told my mom too. I was like, oh, I like girls, and she took it really well. Luckily, I have a mother who's very understanding, and just honestly the best one around, because she was really supportive. She didn't really mind, and if it's own them, mine didn't. She was really loving, so I'm thankful enough to have that. So I'm gonna go through and kind of answer some of these questions and just go through my makeup. I'm thinking about doing something that's colorful today because I really want to do something colorful, and I'm gonna go ahead and probably use these on camera just to kind of show y'all what I do with my makeup. And I'm gonna try really hard not to talk as much because I am always talking in my videos and they come out to be like 30 minutes long. And here I go talking again. But right now I'm just using my Got2b spiking glue and taking this spoolie and putting it on the back of my hand. I just use a little bit just to brush my brows up. You don't really need a lot, because if you do use a lot, it's gonna make a kind of like hard caspa on your eyebrow. And if you don't know what caspa is, it's just basically dandruff. It's gonna get thick, and then it's gonna look like you actually have gel on your eyebrows, which you don't want that look. But that's what I'm gonna go ahead and. So I'm looking kind of scared to swallow on camera because I think it's gonna be able to hear it in my AirPod. So I hope not, but I hope you really can't hear that. I really do. But next we're gonna go in with the Louise base. I take this in first. Normally I just put a little bit on my eye and then I go back in and I kind of go right underneath. So this next question is, how did you know you were comfortable with your body? I don't think I had like a time when I got comfortable. It kind of just happened. As a kid, I was really self-conscious about the way I looked because I didn't look like all the other girls in my school. A lot of them were skinny, they had straight hair, and at the time I just did not want to look different. Like when you're younger, you're very impressionable about how you look, and you feel like you have to meet those, those typical standards of being skinny, having straight hair. And for me, growing up, it was a lot different for me. because I honestly did not have any of those features. I was not skinny, I didn't have, you know, straight hair, and it just bothered me a lot of the time. And this is before I had braces, so even then I also had issues with like my teeth. I didn't smile, like I had a very self-confident, like my self-confidence was down. It just was not it. And so for a while it was hard for me because I couldn't figure out why I felt like this, and it always just bothered me to look at myself. So it took a lot of me coming out of my shell as a teen to kind of, you know, break that barrier of being self-confident. Because even in high school I was a cheerleader, so it made it a little bit easier for me because then I had to, you know, get out of my shell. And I had been a cheerleader already from, I think I was like 11 when I started cheering. So from that point on, it kind of took me like a jump start just to try to get my confidence, because I was in front of people. I didn't have a choice to be unself-confident. I didn't have a choice to be, you know, vindictive of myself anymore, because I had these people that I was looking at, and it was really fun for me because it honestly just helped me get out of my shell. And I honestly recommend any sort of extracurricular or any sport that can get you out of your shell faster. Definitely go ahead and try it, because for me it helped, because then I didn't have to worry about having to stay in my shell. Because in middle school it was hard for me too, because I didn't like the way I looked, and it was during that time, if you knew me in middle school, you probably know what I mean, but I would have a lot of issues with my image. So I was always changing my hair, dyeing my hair. I had these bright red bangs that I just wanted to cover my face. I basically went through an emo phase, and it was just horrible for me because I fucked up my hair. I chopped off all my hair. Like, my hair is long now, but my hair used to be down to my butt, and I cut it off in middle school because I wanted to look like other people. And honestly, I would recommend for people who are younger than me, don't change your image for like to fit a standard of somebody else's. Just because you don't have curly hair, just because you don't have straight hair, doesn't mean that you should diminish your own personal features, because it's not worth it. It really isn't. And that's just more than just my opinion on being confident. It's just to love yourself and to love those traits about you that make you unique. At the end of the day, you're one in one. You're not another person. So you don't need to be going about trying to look like somebody else, because that's not you. With the shade Grape, it's this purpley color. And now I'm going to go in with this Morphe R39 brush. It's a tapered blending brush. And I'm going to go in with the shade called Bear. So blended that out, but I wanted to add a little bit more onto that last question. On top of that, like, even now I have issues with my body sometimes, but it's not as severe as it was when I was younger. Because when I was younger, like I said, I always wanted to fit somebody else's mold to feel beautiful. And now I feel like, of course, you're gonna have self-confidence issues when you're not feeling your best. So, like, if your low-hats are hanging out, or like if you feel sick, or if you're on your period. And that's just like one thing I try to remind myself, like if I'm feeling down, or if like I'm on my period, or you know, anything like that, anything that's gonna make you feel worse, I have to take into fact that that is not a reflection of how I feel every single day. Yes, there is some days that I feel worse than others, and yes, I still have self-confidence issues, but it's not as bad. And I think that's something a lot of people fail to take into factor, is because they need to think about how you are not gonna feel 100% every single day. You are not gonna walk out the house looking like an Instagram model. You're not gonna look snatched, because a lot of the time that shit is photoshopped. You are not gonna look like that society standard, because that society standard is not realistically unattainable. Because I see so many younger girls, they look at these, you know, Instagram models or these TikTok, like, you know, just social media in general is such a poison to our society, because these little girls get this idea that they need to look like this to be beautiful, and they don't. And I understand, like, for a lot of people growing up, you were always told by your family, oh, you have to look this way, you gotta get a boyfriend, you gotta be married, there's all these just society standards that just get in the way of you being happy. Because at the end of the day, only you can make yourself happy, as far as like what you want to look like, what you want to be like, just in general. So I think that's something that I wanted to add on, just because it goes into the relevance of just, you need to learn what makes you happy and what makes your body happy. If you're not feeding your body the right things, then of course you're not gonna feel good. This year I've taken back on like how much I eat, and basically watching what I eat to make sure that I feel better about myself when I put my clothes on. Even if I did gain weight, I still feel confident enough to go out and be my best self, because, you know, that's me. And I have to love myself, you know, for who I am, because I'm only me. But in with this shade called Blackberry, it's the deepest purple inside the palette. I'm gonna take this on the brush. This is the BH Cosmetics Studio Pro. It just says 8, that's all it says. So I'm just gonna take that and pack it on here. I'm basically doing a cut crease. I've been wanting to do one for a while, but I'm gonna do it with some green liner instead. So I'm just gonna go on with that. Kind of like this. What I'm gonna go ahead and do next is I'm gonna go back in with that P. Louise primer on a flat concealer brush, and I'm gonna cut my crease. I'm gonna show y'all how I cut my crease, but it's gonna be sped up because I'm trying to go through this fast as possible. So I'm gonna go ahead and show y'all that in the next clip, and then I'll answer another question. Something like this. If you're following along trying to recreate this look, you can do this look with almost any palette, as long as you have a pink, really, or purple pinkish colors. So I'm gonna go ahead and answer another question, but the instructions that I have is that, what do you think about detox / Yoni Pearl pills? If you don't know what that is, basically those are pills that you can, men, if you're watching, I suggest you click away unless you are an actual man and can stand this. But they're basically pills that you insert into your vagina, or you can either insert it, or they also have options where you can like sit on the toilet and it will basically produce this steam or aroma that's going to clean out your vagina. So what tends to happen to people is they get discharged and they have all sorts of things come out. Like some people have miscarriages and they have their fetus come out, or they just have, you know, some discharge that smells really weird, because your body's natural, it's going to produce discharge. See why people get grossed out by it? Because your body automatically produces it without you even trying. And if you say you don't get discharged, girl, I know you're lying, because if you're a woman, unless you're wiping frequently and probably messing up your pH, you're gonna get discharged. But I personally, I would probably try the one that goes on top of the toilet. Like you set a dish down and then you go ahead and sit on top of it with the steam coming up. It would be nice, especially like if you wear tampons like me, you feel like sometimes you gotta let stuff, this is gonna sound horrible, I'm so sorry, but sometimes you just gotta let stuff go. Like you have to let stuff come out of you. You can't always put a tampon up there. So like sometimes I feel like I have too much. Like I've been putting a tampon up there too much or too many times, or back and forth, you know, just going back and forth, making sure my tampon's good or stuff like that. So I would honestly do it. I mean, that I wasn't expecting to come out of me. Like, you know, if I did have a fetus in there, don't know how that's possible, but you know, you never know. So that's something that I'd be interested in doing for y'all if y'all are interested. And just cut this crease. I'm gonna go in with this shade called I'm gonna go back into the shade called Grape. I'm gonna go ahead and put it on this outside just to kind of make a cute line. I don't know. I know this angle keeps changing. I'm gonna hold off on some questions for now, only because I only have one left. But next, I'm gonna go ahead and cut my crease. That's why I didn't fill it all the way in right here. Because I'm almost done with this glass, might as well, because I only have this much of the bottle that I have left. This already, and again, don't worry about this because I'm gonna clean that up. But next, I am gonna go in with this shade called Rose Pink. It looks like that, and it is a shimmery shade, so this is how it looks on the back of my hand. If you're interested. And I'm gonna go ahead with this brush. This is the M167 brush. It's a flat brush for shimmers. I usually take any setting spray I have. The one I have right now is the Morphe Continuous Setting Spray. Love this stuff, affordable, great option for settings. But I usually go ahead and spray my brush if I'm applying shimmer anytime, and then I go into the palette with the color. So this is the shade. Kiss experience was kind of one that I don't really like talking about anymore, because he just, and yes, it was a he, but he just made it so much awkward. A lot of things happened. I don't feel like getting into it, but it was when I was, again, he was older than me. I was like 6, maybe even 5, but that feels too young. And it was this boy. He was a little bit older than me. I want to say he was like 7, and he kissed me. It was my mom's friend, her son. We were playing, and you know, everything was cool. Everything was fine, and then all of a sudden he kissed me, and I was too young to even realize what like kissing was until I told my mom. And my mom was like, she low-key freaked out because, oh shit, fuck. But you know, it was young. Like, I was young, so it was like weird because I didn't understand, you know, kissing and everything, like how does that work. And she explained it to me. She's like, don't let people kiss you. And then she gave me the talk, not the talk like about sex, but like, you know, like when you're younger and your parents tell you don't let anybody kiss you in those places. And she talked to me about it, and then after a while I was like, okay, well, like, I guess that was my first kiss. And it was in like one of those fucking, you know, like when you're little and your parents used to get you those hints. It was one of those. And so he kissed me in there, and I just wanted to think about it, like my first girl kiss, I was like 10 maybe. Yeah, because it was like with my best friend at the time. I don't think she realizes it, but yeah, she was my best friend. She was actually the first girl I ever kissed, and it was very awkward for us because it was like, we were young, so we didn't know what we were doing until like later we talked about it, and I was like, oh, you know, I didn't mean to, or she didn't mean to. I don't remember who said it. I think it was me. But I think I told her like I didn't mean to do it, and then she confessed her feelings for me. So I was like, oh, you know, win-win situation. But it was kind of awkward. Like, I feel like if your first kiss experience is not awkward, then what is the point of having a first kiss? Because that's when you learn. And I mean, of course, if you did have like a cute first kiss, kudos to you. But you know, my shit wasn't cute. Like, neither of them were. It was very awkward for me. Very awkward time. So, cleaned up my eyes a little bit so I can get started with the rest of it. I'm gonna go ahead and read the last question. The last question I got was first or second date, and that's all I put. So I'm assuming that they mean like, how did my first or second date go? My first date, it was pretty cool. Like, it was my first time ever like going, of course, duh, stupid, of course it was your first time going on a date, but it was really weird for me because at the time I wasn't like sure what the date was supposed to be like. So it was very awkward for me. I'm gonna go ahead and get started with the rest of my makeup. I'm gonna do my skin stuff, so I'm gonna try to go through this fast. This is the Fenty Beauty Matchstick in the shade Mocha. Love this stuff. I put it underneath my like foundation. You'll see what I go through, but if you have questions about my in-depth base tutorial, let me know. But yeah, we actually went out to eat to get ice cream. I know that sounds very generic as far as first dates. So that was something that I was excited about. My first date with a girl was actually Sam. So you know who Sam is. That's my girlfriend. I love her. So she's the sweetest. But we went to a sushi place, and that was a horrible experience. I should talk about that one more because it was just not. I was very nervous. I'm not nervous around boys, but I am nervous around girls a lot of the time. I know that's crazy. I look like those Durban candies right now, but this is just so you know. This is the Wet n Wild blush stick in the shade Floral Majority. I've been calling it the wrong thing this whole time. But yeah, I was really fucking nervous, bro. Like, I was freaking out. I was like, you know, we had already been together for like a little bit, but it wasn't like it's the first time we ever been like out a date. So I was very nervous, and so I actually ended up dropping a whole glass of water on the floor. And for me, when I get embarrassed, bro, I start crying. It's embarrassing, I know, and it's a fear that I should get over, but like I was so embarrassed that I started crying, and like I kept telling the waitress sorry. I was like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, like let me help you pick it up, da da da. And I'm just always like that. I've always been nervous, you know, so it was not a fun time for me. Like, it was a great experience, like, because our date went really well after that because Sam is really understanding. It's something I grew to love about her. But yeah, a bitch was scared. I was like, no, I was like, this can't be happening to me.